what we do is, so in your case, you have Windows is your client. That's where you have downloaded operating system and EB Suite, right? And EB Suite software. So both are available on your Windows machine, and you have created a virtual box, a Unix virtual box you are going to create, right? Now this is going to be your server. This is going to be your OL 5.4. So step number 1, you're going to install OL 5.4 operating system using ISO file. Okay. Now before you do that, we have to share the software directory from Windows. We have to share software directory from Windows to, but because we cannot even share, first we have to install OL 5.4 using ISO file. Once that is done, step number 2, configure first. Configure what? Host file. Configure host file. So make sure the IP address and host name is proper. Once that is done, then we need to share software directory from Windows to Linux, right? Once you share your software directory from Windows to Linux, so as we discussed yesterday, you can do that way, or else I can show you today. As I said, that's easy way, directly using guest editions. We can simply share your software directory, which is like from Windows to VirtualBox, then proceed with the installation with install EB Suite. So that is at the high level. This you are going to do single node installation, multi user. So when we say configure host file plus operating system, here we are getting all the RPMs, groups and users. Since that is ready, so then you can initiate the EB Suite. How are we going to install EB Suite? So these are the steps you need to do on virtual machine. The first thing is we have to start VNC server. First we have to install VNC server, SERVR. Okay. Once you start VNC server from Windows, you can use VNC viewer. So only benefit using VNC viewer is the screen is going to be little bigger. So that way it will be easy for you, and you will know how to use VNC server, VNC viewer and all that too. Or else what you can do is directly you can connect to your VNC box, and even you can make that is a full screen. There also you can install it. Either way we can do it. And coming to the configuration part, since all the instructions are from your manual, right? So you're going to use putty. Using putty, the benefit using putty is you can copy and paste. Right? Let me walk you through one more time. The first step that you're going to do is install OL 5.4 on your Windows using ISO file that you have downloaded. Once that is done, OS is ready. Then going to configure the host file, means removing, if at all you have given the host name and all that, from the loopback address. Then install all the RPMs. In order to install all the RPMs, the 5.4, the file which I have shared with you, is on Windows machine. So share that folder to your Linux box on VirtualBox. Then complete with the installation. Create users groups using putty. You can copy paste all the steps from the manual. Then if you have shared the software directory already from Windows to Linux, which is having both your Unix and AB Suite software, if you have downloaded to one folder, so that folder you can use it to install AB Suite. Installing AB Suite can be done directly on the server itself because it requires GUI capabilities. In order to have the GUI capabilities, if you want to install that from Windows like the way we do in production environments, you can start the VNC server on Linux, and from Windows machine you can use VNC viewer and connect to it and start the installation. That's how you can accomplish your installation. That's the plan. Right? Makes sense, right? Is that clear, Marish? Okay, let me just quit for a minute from this. Let me start my AB Suite server so that we can see. Yesterday it got completed successfully. I don't know whether I have shared this result document with you. This is the result that you see. Once installation is done, so it's going to validate after completing the installation. So it even starts the services and all that we have discussed. So it's going to verify is database available, or the environment files are created, HTTP or virtual directory, and login page, JSP, help page. All the verifications that it's supposed to be done will be completed. Then all the log files and all that are placed here. So I might, anyhow you are going to do this week complete the installation part. So the most important thing here, since we are going to deal with the 2-node installation during today's session, we need to understand this configuration files, because we need configuration file, that which we are going to configure on the first node, which is required onto the second node. So we need to know the locations and all that. So we are going to look at both. So what we do is, first let's initiate the installation process. That takes a while. So if we can complete, by the time we're going to complete this session, I can initiate the installation on the second node also. So then you can also see that. So probably we can take it from there. So let me start my Unix server first. So we start VNC server. First time when we start, it is going to be port 1. And let me use my VNC viewer to connect to my server to start the single node installation, which we have done on VirtualBox on the Unix machine itself. So this is my Unix server. So since I have installed a VirtualBox on this, then I'm going to open that. So this is the one we have used, right? 12.1. This is the one we have used it. Let's start the server. And as I said yesterday, while it is coming up, let's talk about this. I just have installed application node. I just prepared, in fact, operating system, and server is ready. So the plan is for 2-node installation, I'm going to use my main server, my Unix server, for database. Okay, so let me put it here. This is my Linux server, and I have prepared one more server, which is VirtualBox, installed Linux operating system. So we are talking about 2-node. So for 2-node installation for today's session, we have to separate the services. So majorly we have 2 tiers. One is database tier and we have apps tier. One is database tier and the other one is apps tier. I am going to keep database tier on this. So database tier is going to be on my main server, and application tier is going to be on newly installed node. As we were discussing yesterday, we discussed various topologies in creating 2 nodes. I can keep database and concurrent processing server on one, and the rest of the services, which is web server and form server, is going to be application tier. And now these days, based on the technology that we have, the recommended methodology is concurrent processing server not necessarily needs to be on database server, which was the practice. Now, based on the higher networks and all that we have, and one other important thing, concurrent processing server is going to make the connection to the database like the way we connect to database in case of core from client, but entire processing is happening on the database server itself. So it is highly recommended to use the concurrent processing server as a separate server altogether, or you can keep the concurrent processing server with application tier itself. And advantages with this is you don't need to get one more application related files and directories onto your database tier. Let's say, for example, traditionally we used to keep database and concurrent processing together. What's happening? Concurrent processing server belongs to application tier. As per the architecture, any one of the components of application tier is being installed, all the files will get installed by default. Though I just install only concurrent processing server, it is not going to install only concurrent processing server related files and directories. It is going to install everything like Apple top, common top, and all that, 10.1.2, 10.1.3. So that's unnecessarily we are keeping over there. And when we try to apply a patch and all that, we have to apply on the database tier also, because we put the concurrent processing server on the database tier. So now the best practice is keep the concurrent processing server together with within the application tier itself. So that way we can have only one set of application tier files and directories. So anytime you want to apply a patch related to application tier, applying on this node itself is enough. So that is how we are going to really complete our session, initiating the process. Let me initiate the process installing the 2-node installation. Let's come back. Is that clear? Right. So we are going to use our first server. Main server is going to be database tier. That is going to be node 1. So this is node 1. Application tier is going to be node 2. So that's how we're going to complete the installation. Let's go ahead and fire the. Once we complete the configuration part, everything is ready. Only thing is we have to install RPMs and then create the users and proceed from there. So let's see. Yeah, I have to start my apps server also. Yeah, Wasim, I checked that M utility, the one other link that you have sent. Yeah, in fact, 12.2, I have used M utility itself to install and all that. Yeah, if you, yeah, because if we are doing first time, definitely M utility is going to come in handy. The only problem with these RPMs is to get all the dependencies and everything is really painful if you don't know what all needs to be there. So in our case with 12.1, since everything is there, it's even handy. Just just complete everything. It's a very simple. Just making changes to files and then getting the RPMs. Yes, M is going to be the way going forward. Yeah, anytime that you want to deal with a new product, it's like a no-brainer. You don't need to worry about anything. Just set up the M for operating system. Then from there we can. Mm-hmm. 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 I wonder, do we have 32-bit 12.2? I have to check because these days most of the time it is all 64-bit only. Generally we are using, right? Right. 12.2 also they have released 32. Normally I think Wasim, most of the environments we go with the 64 because the hardware is 64-bit. In order to make use of the the benefit of the architecture, it's highly recommended 64-bit. So this is started now. This is our new server. So if config -a, the IP address for our application tier is 192.168.1.4. So this is exactly you're going to do when you start your VM box. So first you open this and then say cat etc host file. Since I have already modified, so this is how it should be, the host file. No host name in this line. Then we keep it here 192.168.1.4 apps.dbatech.com apps. So this is apps tier. So in your case, first time when you do single node installation, everything is going to be on this itself. From here, this is exactly you're going to do when you really try to install even single node. So since I have started this, I wanted to connect from PuTTY. Why? Because I wanted to get all the configuration done as we did yesterday. 192. Oh, 192 apps virtualbox 12.1. Yeah, I have it already. What is that? 25. That's not the one. I want to connect to 192.168 1.4. Let me check what the IP address of this. That's yeah, that's 4. So I'm connecting to my app server to complete the configuration. .4. So only difference is going to be the sharing part. That's all. Since the software is on Windows for you, so I'm going to show you how to share today. And since I have all the software on my Unix machine, the share is going to be little different. Apart from that, exactly same. So actually this is where I have my software. Host name is DBA1. This is the server. vi/etc exports. So I want to keep 4 also part of this. Yeah, I think 4 is already there. Must have used for prior. This is the where 4 is. Service NFS restart. Then let's mount it here. So where do we want to mount? We want to mount it on a folder called stage. Let me create the directory stage mount 192.168 1 dot is a 9. Yes, stage 2 stage cd stage cd 54. Okay, all the so from here I want to go to user add, because we have to create all the users. Before that we have to, yeah, so you come to this nodes. So we have done with this, so we have completed RPM's part, and we're going to go with the next step, adding the sysctl conf and limits.conf. So we can copy this. So this is the benefit having the putty session. Okay, so let us clear that. Yeah, I just added that stuff to limits, sorry, that's to sysctl. Now I'm going to add this stuff to limits.conf, all the limitations. Now we need to create the group and users. Add group. So I have about 57 GB, more than enough. I need about 28 to 30 GB on apps tier. We are fine. So what do we want to call this? 2-node installation we can call like this is development. So first one we have install production single node, and this we're going to call like dev. So Apple dev or dev, like that. So we can add user. Yeah, anyhow, let me create both. Anyhow, I'm going to use user add. Let me modify that as per my requirement. Or dev, Apple dev. So we have done with the user creation. Then let's create the required directories. So I can create and change the group. So I can have disk1 Oracle, and I change the permissions and all that. And let's see, there we have already used yeah, base we can create, we can have the same. Okay, mk, because see, when we copy from nodes instead of hyphen, it's giving dot. So let me copy it here. So let us change. Somehow it won't copy properly from there. So now if I say that, yes, now we got required directories, and we have changed the group of the directory, and then we have changed the mode also. So that's our base directory is going to be, and that the dev directory is going to be created during the installation process. So yeah, this is already we have done. Now the last thing is the soft link. Let's create the soft link so that Apache can get started once after completing the installation part. That's it. Simple 4 steps to prepare your operating system for EB Suite installation. So this node is going to be my application tier. Now main server, this is where I'm going to use, this is my database tier DBA1, and this is going to be apps tier. That's how we do. Let's connect to my main server. So let me start. Yeah, it's already started VNC server. Let me minimize this for a minute. Let me open new VNC server to connect to main server to initiate the installation. .9.1. Okay, let me close this. Oops. Cancel that. Yeah. This is the main server. Just open this. So df-h, so there we are using disk 1 is the base. So do I have enough space on the disk 1? Yes, I have about 60 GB. 60 GB is kind of like 48 we needed. So probably that should be sufficient. Let me check under disk 1 what do we have, so that I can use the same. Yeah, we have VB. Yeah, okay. Under this, the dev is going to be created. So let me go to my stage where I have my stage 12.1 cd start cd ls cd disk 1 rapidwiz. Now initiate the process rapidwiz. So installation must be initiated from the database tier to begin with. Now yesterday we have gone through this steps, like what is the first screen is telling what is that is going to install. Of course we are going to install a fresh, and now since this is the first time we are configuring for 2-node installation, we use create a new configuration file, and all the configuration that we're going to do during the installation is going to be captured in a configuration file. Is going to be available in 3 locations. So we're going to discuss while the installation is going on, locations in the file and the configuration that which is in. So next, so port pool I can take 0 because any given time I can start only 1. Already we have used 1 for our single node, so I can take maybe 0 we have taken already, so I can take 1 or 10 or whatever. So I just take port pool 10. See, the moment I changed port pool 10, 1521 is 1531. It's going to add to that. That's all. That's how it is going to make all the ports are unique. Okay. We cannot, because see, we have already installed a single node on a virtual machine, right? Yesterday. Actually, I have one instance installed already on my single node. I mean, on main server, I have already installed. Right. Correct. During our sessions, we have not installed, but there is one EB Suite already installed by me before the session. Yeah. So that's the one I'm going to use it for the demonstration, because virtual machine again a bit slow. So only virtual machine is to play with it. That's all. I'm going to remove all this, and I'm going to use the one which I have it. Yeah. So just use 10, and yeah, here take the fresh database, and I want to call this as development instance. Now this is going to be disk 1. disk 1 Oracle dev. And before I proceed, I have to make sure that I have the required operating system on database server, because we have created users on application tier. So let me check whether I have required users for dev instance cat etc password. So here you can see all the, I don't have anything, yeah, I don't see Vora dev. Let me create one user. I can even cut and paste from there. So disk 1 Oracle is there, it should be, or else we'll just create one cd Oracle. Okay, mkdir Oracle. So we have created required directory, and we're going to change the permissions, like making the owner, DBA is the owner group, and we have changed the mode also, so he can read and write. So alright, disk 160 GB, yeah, that should be fine. Anyhow, before we can start the installation, we'll go through all the pre-installation checks and all that. We'll come to know whether the space is sufficient or not. So that is done, and next thing is we can add user. We want to call Vora dev, right? I think I have it here. Oh, let me copy this portion. I want to call Vora dev. Yeah, in fact, this is not required. Yeah, if you want to have like it's no use. We are not going to use it actually. We are so much used to create these two, whether we use it or not, so that we don't use it for some other instance later point. Now on this here, okay. Now can I ping to my application server from here? I have to add that to host file, right? So that's the reason it says unknown host, because it's going to ping to that. So let's say vi/etc host file. So what I'm going to do is, here this is 14 is apps. Now this is apps. So ping apps. Yes, I can contact my application server, which is from VirtualBox. So I think we are ready pretty much, and then yeah, let's come here. Vora dev. This is going to verify that Vora dev, and the host name is DBA1. That's where it is going to install disk 1 Oracle dev. So disk 1 Oracle dev, right now we just created the directory. Now once I say next, it is going to create the directory. So now it's all empty. If I say next here, yes, now you can come back. See, dev is being created now. So take switch license. So next, yeah, country specific US is fine. And yesterday you were asking, right, Wasim? So here you can pick whatever one you want, UTF-8 and all that you can pick here. Oops. Okay. Where did that go? So say next. Now here it is. Primary application server node is not the DBA1. This is my VirtualBox. So here I am going to give ERP or apps. This Apple dev. Then DBA is the group. Disk 1 Oracle dev, that's fine. Disk 1 Oracle dev NST, yeah, that's fine too. That looks good. And here since we're going to keep everything on that, otherwise we would have changed. Let's say, for example, to understand, assume that on database tier we are going to keep our concurrent processing server. Shall we do that? That way we can see how do we segregate. This is only to understand how to keep multiple servers. Okay, so application tiers we're going to have two now. So what I would do is, let me change the plan. I'm going to use two application tiers because I want to keep my concurrent processing server. So which way we go? If you guys are okay, this way, right? Or we want to keep concurrent processing server on the database tier. The only reason I'm asking is what to select here. That's all. Let me say that if I wanted to keep my concurrent processing server on the database tier, I have to disable this, right? And I have to disable this. As long as we understand this, we are good. Okay, so if you wanted to, is that clear, Maurice? Yeah. Yeah. Concurrent processing server is a service from Oracle EB Suite, which is going to from our EB Suite, like in Oracle applications. Concurrent processing server is a component. It's a service which will get installed as an application tier service. So as we discussed, three things, right? One is concurrent processing server, forms, and web server. Concurrent processing server is one major component where DBA attention is required. To be honest, more than anything else, we will be dealing with concurrent processing server a lot, because to make it easy, it's a batch processing, well managed, well configured. Let's say if I wanted to run 10 major tasks that's supposed to be started at different schedules, all that can be done by using this service. And of course it is much bigger than what I'm saying right now. So once we install this, I will show you what is concurrent processing server and how we start and how do we really manage, and in further sessions definitely we're going to understand and deal with that, because always DBAs are more concerned about the concurrent processing server, because this is the service will really take inputs for data intense processes. See, normally when we try to use forms or simple viewing capabilities, it's not much resources are required. Especially for concurrent processing server, it requires more resources because it is going to run on the database server, and it's more sophisticated in scheduling jobs and running tasks and stuff like that, which are data intense process and time taking process too. And all these processes can run behind the scenes. Once you schedule and everything, that's it. To make it very simple, the cron tab we have on Unix machine, where we can schedule our jobs and all that, or maybe Control M job is a very sophisticated tool in these days. Corporate world is using Control M is a tool where you can use it to schedule various jobs that can run in various schedules actually. Similar to that, but more specific to Oracle applications, this concurrent processing server is, because it's well organized. It is having many managers that they can really manage various processes. By product wise, you can we can customize the managers, what it can run, what it cannot run, and we can even configure at what time each manager can run. And there is a manager which is going to manage all these managers. So there is a big time discussion on the concurrent processing server, but this is one important component which we can really understand and get familiar with from the application tier. Is that make sense, Manish? Okay, so yes, it comes with exactly, it comes with software. And one other thing is, everything that we're going to deal with Oracle applications is going to come with the installation itself. To begin with, all the services, all the files, all the configurations, everything is going to be one time. Later on we enhance, we add, and all that we can do it. So basic installation is one time. So what this screen is showing us is the first three services are required for web server. The fourth one, batch processing services. You see the name itself, even though we keep on saying concurrent processing, in fact Oracle is calling here it is batch processing. So the process can done in batches. So this is the server. So I can choose to install concurrent processing server completely on a different server altogether. That is possible too. That is even recommended. I can even keep my concurrent processing server along with the application server the way it is right now by default before we change this configuration, or else I can have this batch processing server to be on the database server itself. So that's the one, the last one we are talking about. If we chose to install batch processing server or concurrent processing server on database tier, this is how the configuration should be. So the server is going to be database server, and we don't want to get the web and forms. We disable this and enable batch processing so that your database server will have database tier as well as one of the component of application tier, which is the concurrent processing server. Right. So now if that is clear, then what we can do is we can use my main server is for database tier and the virtual box is for application tier. So right now I hope it is clear. Right. So let's enable all the services on the application tier. So now we are all enabled. So we get 3 services. Okay. Now say okay. Yeah. Generally not. I never seen it. I never seen it. You technically feasible, but not at all, because generally web and forms goes together, because these all are anyhow, even you take medium level server, that server capacity is more than enough. See, the discussion comes into picture where to keep and all that depends upon the usage, right? So with respect to load and resource utilization concern, web and forms absolutely can be on the same server. To be honest, I never seen during my tenure separating these two. Yes, yes, you can have. At that time, definitely it can. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, that's the reason I keep on iterating on this. Not only here, Wasim. Later on, when we do cloning, during cloning, we can decide which services can be installed on which server. Let's say, for example, right now all are on same application server. This is source. Now when you wanted to clone from source to target, not necessarily need to follow the same configuration, right? On target, what I have decided, we wanted to keep concurrent processing server on some other application tier and forms and reports on one application tier. I can do that during the cloning time. At that time, it is going to ask again all these services, hey, what you wanted to enable on this server during the cloning part. But one thing, when I say enable or disable, everything is exactly same except what start stop scripts must be configured on that server. That's all. Got the point? So let's say if I say enable concurrent processing server, nothing else, then the start stop scripts will get created such a way that when you say start all, it will start only concurrent processing server. So that configuration we are designing. Other than that, files and directories, everything is available, right? There is no difference, right? So okay, and again, if time permits, we'll go through the PPT also. There also we can see in detail what kind of services we get when we enable this. What else, because it comes with the listener and all that, and that is also we're going to go through, and I will share that PPT also, so that we'll have 100% clear on when we enable something, what we can expect and all that. Okay. Okay. So now apps is going to have all the services here, all are enabled. Sounds good. So disk 1, Oracle, dev, inst, dev, that looks good to me. Apple dev is the, yeah. So next. You see this database node is DBA1, apps primary apps node is apps. Let me say this here. Assume that we wanted to install concurrent processing server on DBA1 itself. Then at the time it shows primary apps node is DBA1. Based on the configuration, it is going to install only concurrent processing. It's going to enable services for concurrent processing server. Now I need forms and reports. Then I can say add server. Here I can keep apps and do all that whatever I want to do. Then say edit services. Then I will disable concurrent processing server because which is enabled on the database tier in case of that situation. Then this is enable and concurrent processing server must be disabled. Why? Because already I have chosen to install. In that case, say OK. Then you will let's see that you can even delete it later. Yeah, server name it is what is it saying? Server name in use, only one environment per node type can be installed, or only one environment per node type can be installed, because we have used already the same path. That's the reason it is taken. If you use different server, definitely it can be different server, right? We cannot use the same server configuring like that. Let's say for example, if I take apps1, because apps is already configured, right? See, that's how it comes. So that's how you can add any number of nodes during the first time configuration itself. So only one time we can do. Configuration cannot be done later part. Okay. So now this I did only to show you. So we don't need this. Let me remove that. So now the current setup is database tier is having database, all the application service on the application. So this is how you can add in real time if at all you are going to use more than 2 servers for application tier. Okay. Say next. Now it is going to go through all the checks. Right, so space is enough and all port uniqueness and everything is fine. Then say next. So look at the summary. Fresh database languages that is going to install. See, this is going to show you the summary of the current node. So we're going to install only RDBMS and fresh database, unlike the yesterday screen. Yesterday it shown everything. So we have configured to have the only database on the server. So it is saying this is all going to be installed on the server. So the configuration that we did it for application tier is saved in the configuration file. Okay, so we say okay, fine, let's go and install. Remember yesterday it showed us 5 steps, 1 to 5. So let us see how many it is going to show here. Definitely not 5. It's going to show first 1, 2, 3 steps. Let's start the installation. See, first 1 of 3. So 3 steps are required for database, rest of the 2 for application tier. So now once it is done with the installation of the database, then we can go and start the application tier installation. So that's how we complete Oracle Apps installation on 2 nodes. Any questions at this point? Okay. Okay, let that go. Then come back to our single node installation that we did other day. 12.1 is up and running. This is the server. So we'll see today how to start stop services once after installation is done. So this is where we have installed our single node installation. Host name, that's erp.dbatech.com that we have used. Under disk 1 Oracle sales, right? So sales is the one which we have installed yesterday, and when we install, these are the directories is going to create first. The main directory is under base. So this directory is called Oracle base because during cloning and all that it is going to ask what is Oracle base, where you wanted to complete your cloning. So this is called Oracle base. From Oracle base, like even we have Oracle base in case of core, right? So that's the base location from where you can keep multiple installations, multiple databases, multiple Oracle homes. In fact, these are the three directories because INST top, which is new during architecture. During next week sessions, we are going to spend more time on the architecture and all that. That is the agenda as per the schedule. So you will get 1 week time to play with single node installation, multi-node installation, and once we practice multi-node installation, so probably our practices can be done on the single node so that everything is together. We don't need to shuffle between servers. So once we understand the installation part, we are good. But to be honest, how many times we get the opportunity to install Oracle EB Suite? Not that much, but yeah, one time if at all we are part of the implementation. So later on, almost we are doing similar things behind the scenes in a different way. That's what we call cloning, right? Right now, what is it doing? Your rapid install tool is laying out all the required files and directories because it's a fresh server. Later on, in order to get the production stuff to development, we will be doing the cloning, right? So we have to clone the database, we have to clone the application. It is two nodes, basically two services. So during that time, now rapid install is doing. At the time we will be doing it manually. So you are copying all the files and directories to destination from source, which is production is our source, development, patching instance, testing instance are the clones, because cloning is lot on especially with the Oracle EB Suite environment. Cloning, patching is the major activity that we really do. Once you copy all that, in a way, whatever rapid install is doing right now, we will be doing it by using the tools provided by Oracle, the cloning tools. Okay. So the INST top is the new one from 12.1 to make it shared application tier, configured by default itself. To make it simple, instance top is the one going to have the node related information specific to node. Whatever unique to that node will put into instance top. Generally thinking, what would be the unique to the node? Configuration file, XML file. And to make it even easy, start stop scripts. What services to be started? All that configuration is part of the instance top. And actual files for application tier can be available commonly. So start stop scripts will start the services whatever is required, as we just discussed. But file layout is same, so that you can save time during the patching time. So because it is a shared, you can apply on one location itself, which is going to be available for all the other servers. So one directory is for instance top, the other directory is for database, the other one is apps. So now in order to start the services, what is the sequence? First we have to start the database tier. As we discussed, everything we start from database because database is required for application services. So in order to log in, so we did su-oracle is the one, right? Oracle is the user we have used. Before we can do anything, we have to set the environment. Once after we done with the installation, environment file is going to be created by the installation. See, everything is done by the installation itself. In a way, it's easy. Everything is readily available for us. Only thing is we need to know required files, location and all that to make use of it. On Oracle side, so we have to go to disk 1, Oracle, sales, DB folder, because under DB folder we have all the database related files. Now we have two files. One is tech stack, application stack. So we will go over that during our architecture sessions. Now tech stack will have all the technology related, all binaries are going to be under tech stack. As its name says, it's a technology stack. Technology stack means binaries, as we seen before. Now here this is the environment file. So this is under Oracle base, DB, tech stack, Oracle home, in fact 1110. So this environment file must be set before we can use the environment. So there are various methods everyone will follow in order to source this environment. Like, we use bash profile in case of core database. What is going to be the bash profile? What all required to set the environment? What do we mean by environment? When we log in, this session need to know where my binaries are available. If I type SQL plus from here, SQL plus will not work because SQL plus location is Oracle home bin directory. In order to have that get executed whenever I type SQL plus wherever I am, that must be part of path, right? That is the purpose of the path variable, bash profile in case of core. So path will set, Oracle SID will set, and other stuff. Anything that we need to have it the moment you log into Oracle. That is what we call sourcing the environment. Let's say, for example, there is a problem, there is an issue, SQL plus is not working. First of all, when we raise a ticket or when we talk to anyone, they ask, first question is, have you sourced the environment? Because without sourcing environment, none of these files can be executed. So environment must set first. So here in Oracle applications, we don't need to worry about editing bash profile. Oracle itself created one environment file where this file can be used to set the complete environment just by sourcing that. Now sourcing environment I can do executing like this after I log in. If I have to do this every single time, I need to know where the base path, where my directory is, go to the file and do it manually. So this is kind of tedious. This is not really a great way of doing it. The moment I log in, I will come to home directory, right? So one way is people can do copy the environment file to home directory so that whenever I log in, directly it is under my home directory itself. I can do from here itself. I don't need to worry about where the location and all that. That's one way. The other way is use this path in the bash profile itself, because bash profile will get executed automatically when we log in, provided we use the hyphen, right? See, let me show you that. First let us add in bash profile, and I will show you when bash profile is getting used, when bash profile is not getting used. How to configure this under bash profile? So the path, actually the path is, this is the path. This is where we have sales ERP. Bash profile is going to be available in home directory. .bash underscore profile is a hidden file. See here, all path variables are set and everything by default itself. Because of that, we are able to use all PWD and everything. So now what I want to do is, it's not copied. See, this is the reason I like putting. Let's say if I use my putty, what is the host name? Well, you can, let me see, since I am in the same session, I should be able to, let's say, copy this come down, paste it, yes, home, say dot, what is that, sales rep env, just copy that, paste it. One way of executing bash profile, once you have already logged in, you can say dot to execute that from the same location, bash underscore profile. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to set the bash profile to get this executed. Let's say now maybe space is required. Let me check that. Let's copy that. Generally we do this, we keep in bash profile. I'll tell you the advantages, and yes, there must be a space. va.bash profile. That's how we check the syntaxes and all that. Once we get that, yeah, just give space to it. Yeah. Now save it, execute that, so that we'll know whether there are any errors or anything. Now looks fine. See, this method is recommended. Why? Because any time that we run autoconfig is a tool which is going to create this environment file afresh. Every single time when we run autoconfig, the purpose of running autoconfig itself, if at all we have done any changes in the environment, those changes will come in effect only when we run the autoconfig. Very important point to remember. So autoconfig is one other important activity for apps DBA. Because there are many directories, there are many products, there are lot of configuration things that we need to really understand and manage and maintain it. Thanks to Oracle, they made it very easy. The entire configuration can be managed very easy by using the autoconfig tool. Of course, we're going to have one environment file for database, one environment file for application tier. So since we are looking at the database tier, so this using this way, like what are we doing? We are trying to source the environment file by using bash profile, because this is the actual location of your environment file. Now, as I just showed you before, if you copy environment file from this location to home to source it manually, when we do that manually, when you have multiple Oracle instances up and running, using bash profile you can only source one, right? So there are reasons why we use in different ways. Let's talk about when we use the home. Assume that on a server, if I have development Oracle EB Suite, if I have patching, if I have testing, three, because server is very powerful, I can host all these three instances on the same server. So the same server is having all these instances. So in order to source the one which we want, definitely the environment file cannot be put into bash profile. You can keep one. So the point is, if we keep environment file in the bash profile, only one file can be sourced at a time. So even manually also you can source one file at a time, but if you wanted to change it using bash profile, again you have to open the bash profile and you have to modify here so that you can do it manually. So different ways and means, like you can put one here, two other one in home. So one default is set to one. If you wanted to change between those two other, you can do it manually. So that is the purpose. We kind of do copy the environment file from the actual location to home directory. In case of production, normally one instance per server itself is great. If that server can really support that instance, that's wonderful. That case, we use this way so that directly it can source the file itself from the location. Now, what is the disadvantage copying to the home directory? Whenever you run autoconfig, Autoconfig is creating the environment file in this location. This is a standard location. So every single time you should remember, when we run autoconfig, once complete autoconfig, you have to copy that environment file to home. So if you forget that, old environment file will get sourced. So just keep this point in mind so that you can play with the configuration file whichever way you wanted to manage it. So this is recommended in production environment. Now, to source the environment file when you logged in, this is the method dot bash profile, the one we just did it. Now the other method is from root. If you are logging in, su hyphen oracle. What is this hyphen? Using hyphen will force bash profile to source automatically, otherwise no. So let's say enter. Now is the environment file set or not? How do we know? Echo dollar env also, yes, echo dollar oracle home. So first I want to show you one by one. Env is going to display everything that is been set in the environment file. So you can see the sales name and all that. That's one indication that you can see the environment file is set. In fact, database tier is less. If you look at Oracle application side, there are many tops that needs to be sourced. So I'll show you when we get there. So this is one way you can do. So using hyphen will source the bash profile automatically. This is how you set the bash profile. But once this is done, we have to start the services. In order to start the services, we have to set the environment point number 1. Then you can go to Oracle Home, Apps Util, you can come to scripts directory, then you can use these scripts to start the service, database services. What are all there on the database side to start the services? Only two things like your core database. One is database, one is listener. That's all. Of course, other ones are for auto config and pre-clone and all that. That we'll see later. What is general practice? Because we don't want to really come here all the way to start the scripts and all that, because we are very familiar with how to start the database and all that. You can use these scripts, or you can might as well start from SQL plus startup thing. So since we already familiar with that, so let me show you. You can start the listener using this. You can start the database using this. AD means application DBA. Application DBA, database listener controller. Application DBA, database controller. So to start the database, you can use this script, copy, paste, and say start. But in real time, we don't really come all the way here and then start the instance. You simply log in, set the environment is already set, SQL plus startup, we are good to go. So how is it going? Our installation. Good. Okay. We are on the different server. Let's see. Maybe we might as well correct to that. See, this virtual is, it's very useful and helpful, but still it is having its own. It's not like a physical, right? It's virtual. But we can do almost everything that we can do. Most of the environments are preferring to have these virtual machines. They purchase one powerful server and to play with it. So definitely virtual server will come in handy. Right? Status 0 is a good news all the time, as we know. Now database is started. So default database that we get is 11107 with the 12.1. So now you can use the script to start the listener, or else, since we have seen using that script, I can say ls nrctl start sales. Either way, this is how normally we do it for database, but application we cannot. Application we have to use the scripts, there is no other way. Okay, now the services are up and running. ps -cf grep tns. Yep, and ps -cf grep small. Yeah, we got the database tier ready. Then let's get on to application side. So I can come out, exit, then log in as Apple MGR. This is the APPL MGR. Now here again, where is the location? Disk 1, Oracle, sales, apps, right? So this is the application. The way we have DB that contains tech stack and app stack. This is also containing app stack and technical stack. So you have to go to apps ST here, there tech ST, because that's where we have. So under this we have two directories. One is Apple and common. We'll see that later. So we have to get into Apple. So this is what our Apple top, in fact. So we'll come to know those variables and all that. So if you want to see the environment files that has been created by the installation, there are two environment files. We wanted to use this environment file, apps sales ERP. This is what we call consolidated environment file. Calling that will call various files. See, this is one location we have these environment files. There are other locations where we have some other environment files. So all that will be executed, all that will be sourced just by using apps sales ERP. The similar way, let's source this after copying this, put it at home. That's one way. Then let's take this and vi.bash profile. Let me copy this. .bash profile. Oops. Where are we? We have to get to home. vi.bash profile. Come down. Dot space. Paste it. So we need this file. Copy, paste. Most of this is only one time thing. Paste it. That's it. So let's check the configuration is done properly or not by executing manually. Bash underscore profile. That's it. Now if I say echo Apple top environment, one way to check, see this is pointing to the location where we have our environment files under Apple. So again, to see the entire env, as you see there are many directories compared to core. Core we have like 3 or 4. All these are for application. So that explains there's a lot of directory structure involved, because there are about 200 plus product tops. All those product tops, including our technology stack 10.1.2, 10.1.3, everything must be configured, including start stop scripts and everything. Now where do we have start stop scripts for application tier? cd admin scripts home is the variable. So from here onwards, because this we will remember all the time we go here, like whenever we do outage, whenever we want to bounce a particular service. So this is the directory that we need to get. Of course this directory is set to instance stop. As I said, if you say pwd, see this under base instance stop. So that's how we get familiar with the architecture part, the file locations and all that. So to know it, to make it fast, using environment files will come really come in handy actually. So admin scripts home, but at the same time we need to know some directories by heart, because when we clone and all that, environment file will not get created. So at the time we need to know certain directories by heart. So you can go there and do what all required till you get the required environment file. Once you have the environment file, then you can source it from there. You can automate all the setting up the environment file and all that. Okay, so when we come here, so we have this many scripts here. All these scripts configured to start that particular service based on the configuration that which we have done during the installation. Now I have a way to start one by one. I can start all the services that's supposed to be started at one shot. Which method we follow normally? Start all, stop all. If you look at these first two scripts, it's going to start all the services that are configured to start on this node will get started. It's going to stop all the services that are supposed to be stopped, which are started will be used by using stop all. Then here again, if you wanted to start only application listener, there is an application listener as a service. If you wanted to bounce it, then we go with individual script. Otherwise we don't go to individual. Let's say if I wanted to start or bounce concurrent processing server ADCMCTL, concurrent manager controller. So you can start the concurrent managers and you can stop the concurrent managers like that. So pre-clone, all the required Perl scripts, shell scripts are part of this. If you wanted to use like MWA server to start the MWA server, like mobile web application services, so that way you can do it individually. You can start all together. Normally we start all together and stop. There is no point starting one by one. So this way your start stop will make very easy, like AD AD. So now to start these services, especially concurrent processing server requires the connection with the database. So that's the reason we started the database. In fact, all the other services can start individually on the server, but concurrent processing server should make the connectivity to database in order to get all the configured managers part of the database itself. Based on that information it is going to start. So we need to provide apps password. So we'll see what is apps and all that. So apps is one user available in the database, very powerful user, because we have to really protect the credentials of apps password. If anyone can get the apps password, they can see everything that is there in the database itself. So anytime we do the maintenance, during password change and all that, we always change apps password. In a way you can think apps password is a super user where this particular user is having access, full access for all the objects that are available on all the schemas in Oracle applications. So for now, since we are using apps, I just want to say a couple of things on apps. Definitely we're going to really discuss more and more on the apps schema capabilities and how this is set up and how we wanted to really use the same methodology for our customization also, because whatever we are using right now is all seeded, and definitely every environment will have some kind of customization in order to have the way they wanted to do the things, right? So every environment will have the customization. How much depends how much we wanted to customize or do differently than what is available with the system itself. Okay, while it is going on, yes, yeah. What is it? DBA files. DBA files. All DBA files are. Yeah. We have 10.1.2, 10.1.3 binaries. Exactly. Yes. That's a very good question. Yeah. So what we do is in next session, we'll go and understand each and every directory. So what is TechST, what is and all that, and we have Apple top, common top. And why do we need common top? So what is going to be there? Because there is some kind of redundancy that they maintain for a purpose. So that's all we're going to say. And most important things that we need to really understand, this is for knowledge sake and for troubleshooting. When we apply patch, how patch knows what is available on the system? Because going through the directories is not the way. There must be a consolidated a file where it talks about. See, to make it very simple to understand, however operating system is designed, Oracle products, not one thing, every single product is created like that. Okay, let me make it more clear. When we say LS, when we say PWD, all the information is already available and getting updated live, because it is not literally going to go and check everything. And very appropriate example is when I say PWD, what is happening at Oracle, operating system side? It is directly going to bin directory, any command that I type, or it is going to go to sbin directory if I have logged in as root user. Otherwise, looking for PWD directory, executable, takes at least 1 week time to come out, isn't it? I don't know, is it make sense? See, what I'm saying is, let's say when you log into operating system, yeah, the same technology, the same methodology used across the IT industry. See, one who can understand the internal behavior, internal mechanism of operating system, that person can understand, especially Oracle, I can say, because I can really talk on the Oracle side, all the products, the entire processing, the technologies that they will implement, including storage or whatever, exactly 100% follows the operating system methodology. So a similar way, here also Oracle applications, in order to let Oracle know to maintain its environment, the consolidated information is recorded in the driver files, very important. So all these driver files and everything, and we're going to see when we go through the architecture. Next session onwards it will be more interesting, because this week we just spend on getting the information as per this, because without this we cannot talk anything. So that's the reason we started with the installation and all that. So next you have 1 week time to get all this setup ready, so we'll be just going and talking about one after one. Now, good man. So we have done with database installation, perfect timing. Say database is available, configuration uploaded. So now we can say next. See summary of it, what it did. Installed home and the database, languages that we have selected, and say finish. Wonderful. Now we'll come back to that. So now we did start stop scripts. So make sure it should exit with 0. Sometimes might exit with 3, number 3, in case when you try to start it, if it is exited with 3, the simple solution is just to stop it, stop all, then again start it, will get started. So that's with 12.1.1. So it was not the case with that. So anything other than 0, just stop the services by using shadstp, stop all, and again apps and apps is going to stop all the services. Then start it, you will get with 0 status. Once in a while you get that. If at all you get that, that's a solution for now. So now all the services, generally this is a practice. As I said before, the most important component, the most important service on application side is concurrent processing server. There are various methods that we have, like for example, in case of core, how do we know whether the listener is up and running? LSNR CTL status listener name is the technically as per Oracle text. Do we really use that? We cannot. If you have to use that, you should know what is the listener name. What if I have 20 listeners up and running on the server, I don't even know the names of the listeners? So technicality is one, practical aspect is one. Normally what we do on floor, let's say ps-cf grep tns, it will display all the listeners which are up and running along with the name of the listener. So that way we can manage it. A similar way, In order to say whether the concurrent processing server is up and running or not, you can go to front end and you can check one method. The other method is you can use a script ADCMCTL status, you can check, but these two are a lot more work. So all I would say is ps minus cf grep, because every process is a service, fnd libr, fnd libraries will get started. So when you see more than one, that's a good news. Easy way. This is how we really check quickly. If you want to check, hey, is the concurrent processing server up, ps minus cf grep fnd libr, because all the managers that are up and running is using the fnd libr is the executable like SQL plus, right? If I use multiple connections with SQL plus, local equal to sr no, something like that. So for concurrent processing, concurrent manager, you can give ps minus cf grep fnd library. If you see more than one, that's a good news. And most of the time DBAs are bit concerned if the concurrent manager is not coming up, which is not a good news, and there our effort is required, unlike any other services. So that's the reason we will be talking more and more in line with the concurrent processing server, because that's where our attention is required. More we are familiar with that, more easy our life is going to be on floor. Okay, that's about services we need to maintain on a installed AV suite. Now the next step is coming back to our installation part, right? So we are done with installing our database server. Now the configuration files that has been created. So if we look at for 2 node or single node, it's the same configuration files. So su-ora dev, right? su-ora dev is the login that we have used on main server to install the database. Then the path is disk1 oracle and dev disk1 oracle. Oops, what was that name we have given? Where am I now? Host name. Oh, I am on apps. See, you know what? This is the reason we maintain some color codes in production environment. So I'll show you when we talk about the profiles and all that, so that you don't need to worry. Now here it is. Host name, it should be DBA1. That is my main server, right? So here, let's log in first. su-ora dev cd disk1 cd oracle cd dev cd. Okay, let's see this. See, since you have not installed any of the application tier components here, you have only DB. If I have installed any of one component, you must have gotten the other two, apps and inst. So let's get into DB. The location is under tech stack 1110. I need environment file, right, to source it. So this is where the environment file for this, but we are interested in the configuration file, not the environment file. The point here is, in order to start the other node installation, we need services to be up. Since it is installed, services must be up now, right? So in case if you have shut down, maybe you want to do it later time, so make sure database must be up and running, and listener also must be up and running, because it is going to connect via listener. See, is the dev is installed, and we need the port number 2, right? Port number is 10 we have added, so 1512 plus 10. So if you say lsnrctl, so let us source the environment, otherwise your lsnrctl will not work. I don't know what you are saying, like it says command not found. Let us source the environment dev dba1, then you say lsnrctl status status and dev, right? It is started now. What is that? 1531. We need that port number. That's how we are going to connect to the database to start the installation of application, right? Because why do we need to connect to database, by the way? In order to start the installation on application tier, because the configuration is available on this node. Now we have two ways. Some reason I don't want to connect to database, but still I wanted to install my application tier yeah, you can copy the configuration file from database tier to application tier locally, use FTP or whatever. So use that configuration file and you can start the installation. Now it is under appsutil.txt. see, this is the configuration file. Where is that location? Oracle home appsutil is the directory. This is one place it is going to store forever unless you delete it. Configuration file is available in 3 locations. One is Oracle home appsutil, because this is required later on. If someone like an Oracle is asking, hey, can you send your configuration file for us to troubleshoot something like that? So the location is Oracle home appsutil on this. On application tier it is going to be under instance top. Okay, so we'll see when we get that is done. So this configuration file will have the details of the configuration that we did it. So it's having all the details of the servers that we have chosen. First server is server 0, which is DBA 1, and the DB port and SID, what all we have selected. But highly recommended not to touch this file, okay, because this is all configured. Try not to alter this file. If anything goes wrong, see, one simple thing, one rule is we never wanted to troubleshoot the installation. We wanted to set the environment. Installation must be completed successfully. See, why to troubleshoot installation? Because we have not followed the instructions as per the Oracle release notes. So that's not called troubleshooting. Follow the instructions from release notes. If we do so, we should not face any problems in the installation. It's not recommended. Even Oracle text says if something happened in between. Let's say your configuration is fine, pre-installation checks are great. Now you started the installation, half the way power outage, something went wrong. And this kind of questions that you can expect during the certification. That's the reason I wanted to mention that. There is a provision that they have given. RapidViz will start the installation right from scratch. If you wanted to restart, you can say RapidViz space -restart. It starts from where it got stopped. So based on the log files which is keeping track of the installation. So generally speaking, that is for exam purpose. If I am doing the installation in production environment, some reason something went wrong, it got disconnected in between. No, I just want to start all over, because I don't want to because we don't want to have any doubt with respect to the installation or environment concern. So I can remove. How do we remove? How do we restart in real time? You can go to disk 1 Oracle, then we have sales directory. That's where everything is available, nothing else. Remove the sales. It's a clean removal. That's all. You don't need to really think about anything. Just remove RM-RF sales, then it will remove everything. Then when you initiate the installation again, sales directory will get created and all the required folders can be available under that. Now coming back to our configuration file, it is giving all the details about server. You see this here? Is database? Yes, of course. Anything else? Yes? No, because we don't want admin forms concurrent web. We are not going to install on this. This is what is being recorded, right, in the configuration file. Based on this, what is the port pool 10? Based on that, it is going to generate all the port pools. Of course, there's a lot more information which is available in the configuration, which is required for your database. And look at this, server 1. So server 0, which is database, is DBA 1. Server 1 is apps. So all the configuration details are part of the database ID, because it needs to connect, and required for the configuration files on the application tier. All that is part of this. And what is the context name? We'll see what is context and all that going forward. See here, database is no, because this is an application tier. We wanted to keep all the application related configuration. So all that you can get it. If someone gets this configuration file, they can easily tell everything that how you have configured your environment. Right, so you can have a look at it, but I highly recommend not to touch that. Anything goes wrong, you recreate the control file by the installing during the installation itself. So since we have 2 nodes, those 2 nodes information is part of it. If you have configured 5, all the 5 servers configuration is part of this single file. So anytime you want to initiate the installation on all the nodes, you need this configuration file. Point to be noted. So we have it here. And as I said, two ways: either you can copy this configuration file to application tier to start the installation from there itself. No, I wanted to utilize this, then you have to make sure the services are up and running, and then you connect via listener. So let's initiate the process, installation process on the application tier. So where are we on the application? Here it is. Host name is the application tier. Is the VNC server is started? Now let's start the VNC server on this, because I need GUI capability. VNC server. Okay, apps.dba tech.com, I can use that, or else I can use IP address if config. If I have to use the name, make sure from Windows we make entry into drivers file. So or else just use IP address, we are good to go. 192.168.1.4:1. Come to your VNC viewer. 192.168.1.4, not 3. Port number is 1. Make sure we have to mention the port number also, otherwise it cannot connect. Okay, now login. So df-h, yes, our directory is under root, where I have 57 GB. I'm good. So we have all the users and all that created. Disk 1, Oracle also there, and permissions and all that. Yes, we have given appropriate. As part of DBA is the owner. I'm good to go. And now where is the software? df-h, because I need software to install on this. Of course I have already mounted my stage location here. So go to stage. Is under stage? No, it is under disk 10, right? So I have to mount the disk 10, like you mount stage. Is it unmount or you mount? You mount, not unmount. You mount stage, right? Oh, I am at stage, so it is busy. Come out of that. Is it being used? Or else I can do one thing, mkdir/stage1 I can create it, because it is being used. So stage 1, so I have to make sure disk 10 is set up. Host name, where am I now? Yeah, DBA1, where /etc, it is under disk 10, right? CD disk 10, CD 12.1. Is it disk 10? Yeah, this is R12.1 is the one. So as long as I can share disk 10, I'm good. PWD. So vi/etc exports. So I have to share. Let me copy this. Disk 10 to 4, that's fine, and say service NFS restart. Now let's mount apps. Yeah, this is where I want to do that. Mount 192.168.1.9 is my server IP address, and I want to use disk 10 on stage 1 folder. Now say yes, stage 1. Yep, 12.1 is available. So let me clear this. Okay, CD R12.1, CD start disk RapidVis. Now let's go and initiate RapidVis. Okay, now say next, next, next. Here it is. I don't want to create the configuration. I have one. So the same pattern, DB server. Okay, can I ping from here? Let me check that, because so I am on apps here. Ping DBA1 Okay, vi/etc host file. Let us add that host file so that you can use the name. YYP copy. So what is my server details that which I need to connect? dba1.dbatech.com, right? So I can use dba1. So now if I say ping dba1, yes, right? That's how you set up. Then I come back here. dba1 dot, just replace this. That's it. dba1.dbatech.com. What is SID? Is a dev. What is a port? 1531. Right? So we are giving the details of your server. Unable to retrieve the configuration file from database. Please verify the database connect string. So let me check. dba1.dbatech. is missing here. dbatech.com. Dev is the SID. 1531 is the port number. That's it, right? So it can identify the file and it's reading from there. This is one method. Some reason you cannot connect to that, or maybe having trouble, something like that, still you want to proceed, yeah, get the configuration file here, copy it manually, you can do it. But I would recommend this way. That way you can even make sure network is set up, it can able to connect to the database and all that. Yeah. Yes. From that server going to that location and using that text file, configuration text file. See, on DBA1, let me show you one more time. See, this one is here, right? So su hyphen oradev. Now, did I copy the? Yeah, I didn't copy that. Okay, disk 1, disk 1, disk1. What is that? Where am I? Host name. Yeah, here it is. Disk 1, cd oracle, cd dev, cd db, cd 11. Oops. Tech 11. cd appsctl .txt. Yeah, this file is being used. So it knows internally where this configuration file is. So directly it is accessing from here using the listener. I mean that port number actually. Okay. Correct. See, port is like yeah, that is how they are making the connection to come, because unless they connect to one of the service of database, they cannot come to this location and all that, right? There must be a service for the connection. So internally what they made, when they make the software, they ask us to give, hey, where is the location of the server first of all. Yeah, we are giving fully qualified. Then which SID, because that server can have multiple. Dev sales, what is it? Then we say dev. Okay, how am I going to reach the service? Port number is what? Entry and exit point of a service, right? Yeah. So listener is a service for some other purpose. Listener using the port to welcome all the services, those who are going through listener. So port is port. The port is facilitating the connections. So that's how they made internally to have the access to this. Of course, they must have hard coded this path and all that, because this path is not going to be changed. So they are getting they are coming directly to appsctl, and so now this is all. Yes, please. Yeah. Yes. Anywhere you keep it, browse there and select that text file and then do it. That's even handy in case there is some trouble or something like that. So now here it is giving the details. It is getting all the required, like OC4J forms, all tech stack components are getting installed. Along with that, let's rapid install. Yep. Now see how many steps it's supposed to do. So one of three. So basically it's not doing all five. Yeah, it's creating INST. Of course, there are some database related, like Oracle Home related, right? 10.1.2, 10.1.3. Yep. See, if you look at the directory, it is going to dev and INST, not DB. When we did first time, that went to DB. So that's how we can. I tell you, because if you really look at the log files, there is so much information that we can learn. If time permits, that's wonderful. So generally from textbooks or manuals it's very difficult to learn. On practice itself it's very easy. Oh, what's happening, just start somewhere. So from there the log files will give a lot of information, the way really it is working. So definitely gives so much information for us to get familiar and confident to work on the environment. So is that good enough for today? And then we'll take it anything that we need to start from the next week. Of course, next week agenda is to get familiar with the environment, and I will share that PPT through email. Whatever we have discussed, all that is part of the PPT itself, so it will come in handy for you to read later point. Okay, so yeah, this is a PPT I'm going to share. You have the types of installation. So it is having rapid views, how to start. You have already seen practically. So since this is a document, they are mentioning about the Unix as well as Windows. Because we are not using in Windows, right? We are all installing. See what stages and all that. So these directories, how many directories we have, where to go, rapid installation, database types, what we have, fresh and vision. Same thing with pictures, right? Country specific. Languages, what is Apple top, what are all the ports and directory paths and mount points, user accounts that we have discussed, and what is going to install. So far this is all we discussed, right? Database, application technology stack, and the file system. So when I say application technology stack, what we are talking about? 10.1.2, 10.1.3. When we say file system, what is that we are talking about? Apple top, common top, and all the product tops, GL, AP, ER, there are about 200 plus. So that's what it is talking about. And of course this is all we're going to see. And again, this is 10G. This is kind of little older document. Now we have 11G database. It's 12.1 we are using, not 12.0. Yes, please. I'm going to send it to you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm going to send it to you once I'm done with the session. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I'll send that too. Okay. Minor party. Yeah. Right. See, that is how I registered with Screencast. So Screencast is a product where I can upload these videos and share with you. So yeah, my personal email ID is that prasad.minapad@gmail. So anything for training schedules and all that, of course I check both. You can send me email to either of the email IDs. Okay. Anything else before? Oh, instance top holds the details which are specific to that particular node as such to the server. That's all. To make it very simple, anything we talk should satisfy this statement. Okay. Start stop scripts. Yeah, start stop scripts are very specific to node. XML file, which is a configuration file, specific to node. Right? Anything that is specific to node is always in the instance top. Rest all commonly used product tops, common for all the nodes. So that's not going to be part of the instance top. Okay. Yeah. Again, of course, we're going to drill down because Instance top is having various directories, right? So definitely we go through all the important directories that which we need to know and get familiar with this each and every directory. All right, and then see you next week, same time. Bye bye. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.